Hello, and welcome to this special Christmas episode of Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 16 of Chobits. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. Alright. Last we left off, there was all sorts of adultery going on. Hideki is, I guess more aware of the situation, which kind of mitigates things, but oh boy. You know, for Hideki's sake, it would probably be good to just, not really get involved. And speaking of things he should be involved with, he should probably prevent Chi and Sumomo from, reading through those magazines. So I guess that's the other thing. The new status quo now is that Hideki's sort of watching Sumomo for a little while. The idea being that Shinbo and Miss Shizume? I think that's her name. Oh man, drawing a blank. They're off on vacation, sort of eloping, but not really, so I guess that means he can't bring his Persicom with him, so now it's Hideki's responsibility, which, in all fairness, he probably doesn't need the extra work, but, oh man, he certainly doesn't seem to need the extra work, judging by how tired he is, so I reckon class was, rather rough. Okay, yeah, so I guess he's, rather despondent about his poor grades, which is understandable, but unfortunately the solution is to, study and get good. It might not be achievable, and, worse yet, she can't really help him that much. Are his grades getting worse? Surely that can't be, right? Oh, man. So, I feel like venting in this manner in front of Chi, even if she can't do anything, she's certainly gonna want to try. I don't know how effective she'll be, but, wow, it's a little unsettling for a telephone call. Man, I guess it kind of makes sense with a Persicom, that's how this would happen, but... Okay, so I guess Shinbo's putting his mistress on. Shimizu, that's her name. Okay. Man, it never ends for Hideki. It's yep, yeah, how are your grades looking? Yeah, it turns out they're looking pretty bad. Ah, man. I'm wondering how precisely a teacher can justify going off on a vacation. Oh, that's interesting. So Hideki just tests poorly. That's something, that's something like a lot of people say when they're in denial, like, "Ooh, I just test poorly," but, like, I don't know, I guess it might actually be the case for Hideki if Miss Shimizu is saying, no, you're actually, like, competent and smart, like, I guess I can understand it, testing is a high-pressure environment if, you've only ever been a student, so, like, I can certainly understand not doing well on a test just because it's a test. Although that said, I'm not sure how, like, taking another mock exam will necessarily help him, other than simply by exposing him to the stressful environment more. I mean, against all odds, like, this otherwise lukewarm conversation gave him the resolve to continue, so, that's something. You can't keep a good man down, but at the same time, I feel like, you should actually have a bit more of a concrete strategy to how you approach these things. I mean, he seems to be just, like, waking up early and immediately hitting the books, and while that is laudable, I don't think it's necessarily a long-term solution to just, like, overwork yourself really, really hard. I feel like you do have to, sort of balance actually studying and taking care of yourself, Because, like, even though it's the morning, he already seems to be, like, exhausted. So I'm wondering, did he even really go to bed at all? Because, like, pulling all-nighters, like, you might have to do it sometimes, but it's really not good for you either. I feel like we're being given a cue by the music here. It's somewhere between, like, grim and determined. As if to imply that, like, the situation isn't good, but Hideki is at least in high spirits and is doing something about it. It's not like they're playing Chopin's Funeral March or anything, but, it's not like this music is entirely removed from that particular sound. Oh, Hideki. Not giving proper notice at work. Ooh, buddy. I mean, the idea here is that the bar he was working at was already sort of, like, short-staffed, so, like, I guess they could probably make arrangements for him if he has, like, exams and stuff to take, but, like, man, that is one of the things I do hate about working, like, managing paid time off and arranging all that in advance. And so he's effectively taking a vacation just to study, which, like, I get it, you have to do what you have to do, but boy, that is a horrible use of vacation time. Ooh. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. Hideki's missing his wallet, or, he's just out of money. Now would be a nice time for Chi to say, like, oh yeah, I've got a couple paychecks saved up. Because so far as I recall, I don't think she's really spent any money on anything. Like, maybe, like, one more book, but, I mean, I feel like, depending on how much time has passed since she got her job, like, she's probably saved up, like, a fair little bit, like, enough for 1 week's expense at the very least, right? Because, like, she's probably not working too many hours, and it's probably not that high-paying of a job, but, if you don't have expenses, your paycheck will add up. Now, it's interesting, she's not, like, immediately providing this solution. Probably because, like, it just doesn't occur to her. It's not selfishness on her part, but I feel like she would have to come up with it, because, like, Hideki's not going to say, like, hey, Chi, can we use your money to pay our bills? Okay, so that's how we're doing it. Sumomo's reminding Chi, like, okay, time to work. And so Chi'll stumble upon the idea herself. I do think that is a nice, very sweet twist, because, like, Hideki's having a rough go of things. The studying's not going well, he's hungry, he lost his wallet, he has no money. Like, I think it does speak to Chi's character and that she has some degree of sapience that, you know, like she could even act in such a way that people would know that something's wrong. And that, you know, she's even capable of feeling like things aren't great. You know, it's not even like she's analyzing the situation saying bad things happen, therefore things are bad, but it's more like, you know, I feel bad and I want to help. So I feel like her boss is maybe not the person to be venting to about this, but, I don't know, maybe he'll give her a good idea, like... Okay, so... Is this like a new paycheck, or is it because, like, is he giving her an advance or something? Alright. So yeah, she stumbled across the idea herself, like, I've got money now, I'll give it to Hideki, like, everything will be good. And I get the feeling that Hideki is not going to accept it right away. But at the same time, you know, if the situation is dire, like, you know, you can accept it, you can pay her back. Ooh. Yeah, so he's not gonna take it. I hope Chi can read between the lines here. Like, he's telling her, you know, you use your money for what you want. Like, well, what if she wants to help him, you know? I hope she can read between the lines and say, like, okay, like, I need to buy groceries and pay rent using my money, and I'll do it because I want to. You know, not that she gives it to Hideki, but that she takes initiative. Like, I guess when you get down to it, that would be a pretty monumental step in terms of just overall, you know, displaying free will. So, I mean, like, this is a dire situation if Hideki's, like, basically shambling like a living corpse. Like, people shouldn't do that, you know? Like, if he's not eating and he's not really sleeping either, like, he's not going to be any use at all in school. Like, ah, man, like, he's in a real bad spot, because, like, doing mathematics while sleepy on an empty stomach, like, just pack it in. It's not going to stick. Alright, there we go, Chi. She's latched onto the right idea here. It's like, okay, like, I need to do stuff for Hideki. So, okay. I think we're firmly in the territory that it's the thought that counts here, because yeah, she, you know, spent her money on food, but, unfortunately cooking is still kind of beyond her. Like, there was an impressive variety of food she acquired, but I don't think it should all go together in the same pot, much less, you know, dry and over a high fire. So fortunately, I think the landlord here, like, she'll understand what's going on and will be able to guide Chi effectively. Because, like, even if she has the right idea, she doesn't have all the knowledge, you know? Man, and you know, she really was on the right path, because it looked like she was buying all sorts of healthy food. Like, she might have been better off had she bought, like, something from the convenience store, but, like, oh, Sumomo, that's not gonna help at all. I mean, sure, a magazine might raise morale, but, it's no substitute for a meal. So I guess I'm hoping the landlord will be able to help Chi whip up something, you know, something nourishing. Oh, man. The poor guy. Like, watching people eat when you're hungry, like, that is bad. That's like an ancient Greek punishment for those in hell. You know, like, I'm pretty sure, what was his name, Tantalus? He was like waist deep in a pond with fruit trees overhead. Every time he reached for the fruit, it would retract. Every time he bent over to sip the water, it would drain away. Like, so she is still unsupervised. I'm not sure about that. Like, she was sent to buy specific ingredients, and I suppose she can follow directions, but it's good, she's not being allowed to cook unattended again. Well, you know, she's even being given, like, practical lessons. Wow. Man, you know, as dangerous as Chi might be, I think Sumomo was, instantly, infinitely worse, you know, wielding a knife like that. So I guess, they're probably making, like, what, like a simple curry or something like that? Curry and rice? Like, that's nice. Oh, man, Hideki. Like, I guess it probably is bad form to ask for time off and then in advance on your paycheck, but, like, you know, if you explain to your boss that, like, you lost your wallet, like, I mean, Hideki's boss in particular seemed to be, like, a reasonable guy. Like, I feel like if you just explain it, he'll be willing to, like, cut you some slack. I mean, I guess fortunately for Hideki, like, he's about to get more slack than he ever thought possible. Ah, man. So the situation really is pretty dire. Like, hungry, not able to learn or study, like, that's bad. I guess fortunately for him, things are about to look up, you know. Assuming nothing drastic happens to that meal. Ooh. That's something, it's like, oh man, I guess the landlord's having curry. With the unspoken addendum being, I wish I could have curry, but like, wow, it turns out you're in luck, dude. So I guess the question is this going to be presented as something she did entirely herself? Because, like, you know, that's kind of dishonest, I suppose. You know, it would probably best not to raise expectations too far, but you know, it is nice in a little extra cherry on the top sort of way that she explains her entire reasoning here. You know, like, yeah, I wanted to do this, and these are the reasons why. Oh, man, that's the other thing, I suppose. Like, oh, man, sorry, Shinbo, there hasn't been much studying going on. I've been busy starving. Oh. Well, that's bad. So, like, Shinbo's calling to give him good luck, but, like, imagine taking a test and forgetting to put your name on it. Like, that's bad. But, like, I guess, it seems like he just, like, he gets, like, tunnel vision, and he's not really, like, attuned to the details, you know? It's like in good old calculus class, where if you were solving an indefinite integral, you have to add that little plus c term to the end, otherwise, the teacher smacks you with the ruler and docks you points, you know? It's like a little simple thing, and it's very easy to forget, but it's, you know, technically incorrect if you don't include it. So I'm hoping, this doesn't really spoil the surprise that she had help from the landlord. You know, like, Hideki's like, oh, I see, but, like, he doesn't seem any less thrilled about it. I mean, it probably should be expected that she isn't quite to the level of doing all this on her own, even if the impulse was there. Now, it's interesting that the landlord didn't really, like, stick around, you know? It probably isn't her place to get involved or anything like that, but just to say, like, you know, hey, like, she nearly started a fire. Like, there's black smoke pouring out of your room. Oh. See, this is why you got a supervisor. You know, again, her heart's in the right place, but, like, you know, if you go reading those magazines unattended, like, oh, buddy. Unfortunately, this is one of those conversations where it's like, you know, this isn't a bad thing, but it's not a thing you can just do at the drop of a hat, you know. Unfortunately, there is more context that is needed, and, like, I don't know. I don't know if she's ready for that conversation right now. So I guess, oh. That's interesting that Hideki would just invite her along, you know, because I feel like she wouldn't be allowed to, like, sit in for the exam, right? Because that's kind of like, you know, bringing your laptop into a math test. Like, you can't do that. Like, I get that he's offering, hey, like, let's go somewhere else, but, you know, this also means leaving her unattended in public, which, you know, she's better than she was, but, like, I don't know. Alright, so I guess, like, not to discuss the results of the test yet, but it seems like all's well that ends well if his wallet was found. So, like, I guess that means he can pay Chi back, like, right away. But, more importantly, I guess we're gonna have to see what happens with that exam and, what Hideki decides to do with Chi afterwards. Because, like, I got the distinct impression that, like, they're gonna, you know, go and get ice cream or something, you know, simple and lighthearted like that. I mean, he certainly seems to be in a good mood, which bodes well, but, you know, maybe he doesn't know his own academic limits, so to speak. Like, I never felt well getting out of an exam, but, you know, I did alright. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. Merry Christmas, Space Cowboy.